This one's wife. Still, they are ridiculed. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. This one's wife wants to be taken seriously. She wants to be taken seriously because her narcissism tells her that she's a serious person, an important person, a person who has something meaningful to tell the world. The fact that she speaks in fridge magnet platitudes, unleashes beige word salads, and generally talks a load of dross, often pinching information from other people and passing it off as her own, completely passes her by. She's blinded to all of that by virtue of her narcissism. When she's ridiculed for the crap that she comes out with, rather than think, could I have done this better? Is there some substance in the basis on which they're criticising me? Her narcissism simply rejects it. Why would anybody criticise me unless they're a half-wit? Why would anybody laugh at what I've got to say unless they're not all there? She is incapable of self-reflection, incapable of recognising that she's got something wrong. This, of course, is both a strength and a weakness, and it's driven by her narcissism. It is perhaps one of the biggest aspects of her narcissism that helps you understand why she does as she does, her failure to learn from previous mistakes, because she doesn't see them as mistakes. It is as if she is permanently wearing rose-tinted spectacles in relation to what she has done, which then causes her to believe that whatever she said, whatever she's done, whatever she happened to have commented about, then it's all something which is good. That she has done the right thing, that she is superb and that she is brilliant. The revision of history is such that nothing was a failure, save where it can be blamed upon somebody else. The failure is either not accepted, or if it is, it wasn't down to her, and it is placed firmly at the doorstep of somebody else. This one's wife wants to be taken seriously because in her mind's eye, she sees herself as this global behemoth that is striding the world like a colossus, dispensing brilliant information and telling people how they should lead their lives. She believes that she's party to information that nobody else has happened upon before. If you were to put that to her, this one's wife, do you believe in all of the things that you say, that you're party to information nobody else has ever received? Her narcissism would reject that. It won't go, yes, because I'm ultra special and ultra important, because, of course, her facade management would prevent her from doing so. But understand this. That is the mentality that functions in relation to this one's wife. The need to be taken seriously is very important to her. And that also then extends to her ginger poodle. He must be taken seriously. He must behave seriously at the appropriate times because subconsciously he is an extension of her. And the problem is, where he makes some kind of foul up, that reflects badly on her. Not just in the ordinary way of saying we're a husband and wife, we're a couple, we're a brand. It's much deeper than that, far more pathological. He is bolted on to provide effectively services to her, to be part of the awful shared fantasy that she has created. She absorbs, takes, acquires those character traits from him and his actions and his dealings, for instance, the Invictus Games, and passes it off as if it's actually hers. She may not say as such, oh, the Invictus Games is actually mine, but she behaves like it's hers. Witness, on so many occasions when she's attended with Harry at the Invictus Games or preparatory events, the way that she leads the way that she finds the camera, the way that she interrupts his handshakes, the way that she makes it all about her, darting over to the Sussex squad to have some selfies taken, the way that she conducts herself to march in front of veterans in an act of stolen valour. This is because Harry is an extension of her, and what he has, she takes. But it also has a downside, which means that if Harry buggers something up, it reflects badly on her. And therefore it's important for Harry to be treated seriously also. This is a fundamental flaw for both this one's wife and Harry, because few people do actually take them seriously. And it's worse than that. It might be the case that people will say, oh, them, we don't really pay much regard to them. But the fact is people do pay much regard to them. They pay plenty of regard to them because they find them a pair of idiots, a pair of grifters, a pair of abject losers. And the difficulty is that when Harry has the piss taken out of him, and there's plenty of material to go at in that regard, it reflects badly on this one's wife. It affects her facade. It affects her notion of control over the viewership or the audience. Thus, there are circumstances where she has to distance herself from Harry, as we saw with Spare. She'll undoubtedly have written much of it, but when it became clear that there was a lot of criticism and amusement and parody and piss-taking in relation to it, she threw him under the bus, see parts pass him. Now, rather interestingly, we have a useful article that not only is amusing in itself, but it enables you to understand the concept of how this one's wife wants to be taken seriously, and how, if Harry is not, that reflects badly on her. It also demonstrates the fact that she cannot understand why she keeps on failing, and thus she keeps trying. Rather than adopt a low profile for a number of years, as I've explained previously, she keeps on pressing, she keeps on plugging away, driven by the blindness of her narcissism. This results in each time them doing something, them being parodied further, that there'll be mickey-taking and ridicule. And it's happened here again. Not only does this underline the fact that they're not taken seriously, it demonstrates there's no reprieve in it, because they have become such figures of derision. And that, of course, threatens her control considerably. Hilary Rose writes in The Times, Prince Harry has decided not to update Spare for the paperback edition, which is a terrible shame and a missed opportunity. He could have called it Spare Part, for example, and updated us on his towering achievements as a humanitarian. After all, in the 18 months since publication, so much has happened that could be spun in a positive way. If only he could retain staff long enough for them to spin it. For fans of Spare, I've had a crack at updating it myself, she writes. Over to you, Haz.
Spare was the fastest-selling non-fiction book of all time. Take that, J.K. Rowling. It was translated into 37 languages, and in some of those languages it may even be true. Since it was published, almost everything has been brilliant, especially me. I am a best-selling author, and Willie isn't, I told Meg. I'm full of joy and unreasonable fury. But she wasn't listening. She's making a TV programme about friends and scrolling through her phone trying to find them. Yeah, it's all about cookery and gardening as well, she said, without looking up, which is fortunate. Back to me, because this is my truth, and it's bigger than Harry Potter. There's no room in my life for negativity, only for reconciliation with my family, who were badly advised by unscrupulous courtiers. Why else would Pa evict us from Frogmore as soon as Spare came out? I can't presume to answer that. I can only discuss it on talk shows, but honestly, we never liked it anyway. Yeah, it's a relief having nowhere to live in the UK, I told my new and now former Chief of Staff, because it opened up opportunities to complain bitterly that I've nowhere to live. He nodded and said, "Can I go now?" And we agreed it was for the best. Pa offered me rooms at Buckingham Palace, but it's not safe. I no longer get 24/7 protection from the Met when I turn up out of the blue to hang out with the boys, although they all seem quite busy these days. One of them said anonymously I'd trash my family, and to him I say, I never liked you anyway. I packed up Frogmore, sent the keys to Andrew, who turned the lights off and pretended he was out, and flew home. When Pa was crowned in May, I did a day trip, because I had nowhere to stay, and flew commercial because I'm a climate change activist. My security team concluded that the first-class cabin of a British Airways plane would be safe. When I asked Meg why she wasn't coming, she just looked at me strangely and said, "Duh." My view was obstructed by a big red feather on Anne's hat, but I behaved with great dignity, as you would expect. What else? Well, we were criticised for flying private to see Katy Perry in Vegas. There's literally no other way, at least not when we need to be home for bath time. Why so much negativity after we said we'd been in a high-speed chase around Manhattan in rush hour? Nobody believed us. Not even the police who investigated it. So much negativity. I'm back in New York next month for a UN conference on climate change, and they'll be keen to hear my views. I'm Queen Elizabeth's grandson, and I married a hot actress. The year has been packed with good news stories about my desire for reconciliation, but I will only mention a few. There was the time I flew to London to see my father after he was diagnosed with cancer, and the time we sent a private message to support Kate after her cancer diagnosis. How it became public's a mystery. We told nobody, I said to Meg. Only People magazine. Our trips to Nigeria and Colombia were highlights. They were not royal tours, you understand. They were mini breaks at the request of the governments and purely for the benefit of their citizens. By happy chance, there were also opportunities for Meg to wear nice frocks and Mummy's Cartier watch and nothing at all like South Park's cruel worldwide privacy tour. At Archwell, I say to the haters, our motto is show up, do good, cash in. From Colombia to Nigeria and from Monty Shitshow to Manchester. What is what drives us? Wait, not Manchester. I turned 39 and nobody in my family wished me a public happy birthday. It's fine. Never expect much. It is better to give than to receive. Nevertheless, I call my father on his 75th because I can be magnanimous now I've said my piece. I also sent a video of Archie and Lily singing happy birthday. And we've won awards, yeah. So many awards. I told my new and now former chief of staff, big awards, prestigious awards, more awards than anyone in the history of awards. They're calling me an unsung hero and a legend of aviation. I was only doing my duty, and I truly regret bragging about how many people I killed. We're making a documentary about polo, and Meg is making her friendship programme, and everyone is super excited to know which friend she'll be talking to when it airs. My main focus for this past year has been making decisions about my children's future in this wonderful republic we call home. We're giving them royal titles because that worked out so well for me.
You were Queen Elizabeth's favourite grandson.
Meg reminds me every day.
And who knows, it may even be true.
Thus, those are the observations and words of Hilary Rose, taking Michael out of both Harry and this one's wife once again, shown as the Times newspaper, a relatively serious newspaper that demonstrates once again that this one's wife simply will not be taken seriously, and the ridicule continues. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.